lads, give your heart and soul. Run lads, shoot lads, give us all a go. Run lads, shoot lads, you can do it yet. Come on Newport County, oh, bang it in the net.
Hello everybody, welcome to Taff's Word. Yes, overdue, and I say the same shit every time I do this, but it's always about finding the time. But we're doing one now, and I believe it's a rather important subject, to be honest with you, as you'll see in the subject title that would have just gone past. So before we kick off, subscribe, like, comment, give us more ideas of kind of content you want to see on this channel. We got more creators than we've ever had, so let's do what you want, basically. See what you can get out of this channel. More neutral stuff, more in detail county stuff. We'll do it. Just tell us what you want to see. So kicking on the season so far. Now, this is the kind of video I've been wanting to do for weeks now, but I've been biding my time to a point where I can prove myself right. So at the point where there was an awful lot of panic over the start that we'd made to the season, considering it was at the very, very beginning of the season, with Rowbury signings. Like I say, there's been an awful lot of panic, an awful lot of worry, people, you know, writing us off right at the beginning because, you know, we hadn't won many games at that point. I think the only real win that we'd had was the Luton game at the point I wanted to make this video, because you're seeing an awful lot of knee-jerk, reactive, sort of whining, spoilt children type of comments across Facebook, Twitter, and the county message boards, basically. It's annoyed me because there's people already calling for Rowbury's head, basically calling him Warren Feeney Mark II, which I think is crap. I think he's definitely got a lot more pedigree, although Warren Feeney is doing well for himself. Although Warren Feeney was seen as Anthony Hudson Mark II, and that was proved to be right in the end, although I still think Warren Feeney should have been given a little bit more time, certainly better than who succeeded him in the end. But Rowbury now. Rowbury succeeded Flinney and got off to a flyer. He had a really good season up until the point the players just seemingly burned out. You know, they just seemingly burned out, and that was that, basically. So the sort of comments. So no midfield. I'm not being funny, but people go on about this midfield general type. You know, someone who can boss the midfield around. And I was thinking, well, people do tend to forget about Scott Bennett. He's always the forgotten man in our team. He's one of the most reliable players that we've ever had. You know, one of the more consistent players that we've ever had, and is very often underappreciated for the work that he does. Now, people who there's a difference between liking football and understanding it, and people who don't understand football will never understand the role that a Scott Bennett actually plays in a midfield. People saying we need to replace Labardi. Well, the similarities between Scott Bennett and Labardi are quite staggering, really. Having both of them in the team would often create sort of a, you know, a clash. You know, but for me, Scott Bennett, he's a passer with the ball. He's actually quicker with his feet than people realise, and he's strong. He's a presence in the midfield. He makes tackles and he chases people down. He hungers for the ball. A lot like Labardi with everything. I mean, the difference with Labardi then, Labardi would chip in with more goals than what Scott Bennett would, but Scott Bennett does get his share. You know, not bad for someone who's converted from centre half. So people have been running Scott Bennett down, but I don't think people quite realise the role that he plays. You know, the amount of play that he breaks up, you know, his positional play. You know, the right kind of positional play gives you what I call the ultimate deterrent to your quick passing game or a counter-attack type style. So if you position yourself right, people don't pass in that direction if you're in that position. People look for their player up there, but you position yourself there, people aren't going to make that pass, they're going to make their square ball. But if Scott Bennett had drifted away, left that channel open, they're picking that channel and they're getting us on the counter-attack. Scott Bennett does that positional play exceptionally in that midfield, and presence. People just don't realise that positioning yourself with the correct presence can often deter an attacking team or an opposing attacking team from actually playing a quick passing or direct passing game. So cutting passing lanes and things like that, that is something Scott Bennett does excellent. So I'm going to use Scott Bennett as one example, because if I talk about every player in our team, I'm going to be here all day. But I'm using Scott Bennett as an example of where people just don't understand the role in which some players bring to their starting position. So we got a number of players, and as we know, it started to come good. Now, I could have done this video, but I thought, no, it's going to come good. The way we played at Luton, it was only a matter of time before we were going to start beating League Two teams. And not only have we beaten League Two teams, we've won 2 league games in a row. We've won 4 matches in a row. That's 5. So out of 9 games that we played so far this season, we've won 5, which for me is an above 50% win rate. Now, winning those games in the cups doesn't give us points in the league, I know, but that there is a sure as hell sign that if we can win games like that, especially against League One and Championship opposition, League Two teams, if we can apply ourselves in the right way, which we're starting to do extremely well now, it's only a matter of time before we start building a winning run. And obviously we got 2 on the bounce in League Two. Today we play Grimsby at home, which is a very winnable game. No doubt Grimsby, newly promoted, are going to come, expecting to do well, as most from newly promoted teams, they're still on a buzz from their promotion the season before. But, for me, I think there's nobody in this division that can come to our place and expect to win. And I think we, as fans of this team, can but believe that we're capable of beating anybody at home. Away, we can be just as good on the road as we are at home at times. Last season we were. So why not? Why can't we go on this winning run? Why can't we do what Exeter and Bristol Rovers did last season and Bolton the season before, and make a poor start but bring it back? Mansfield even should have got promoted, should have won that playoff final. I think they were miles better than Port Vale, just didn't turn up on the day. I think we're more than capable of coming good. We've got a very good tactical coach. People are starting to pick at Carl Sorrant, saying he's a fitness coach. At the end of the day, if you're an ex-player, doesn't matter what kind of coaching you're in, whether you're fitness, at the end of the day, people said David Pipe was a great motivator, but he's a fitness coach, really. So David Pipe, as a number 2 at Newport County, people would say, yeah, he'd do great, but he's still a fitness coach. You can't pick up people for little things, I just don't get the mentality of fans who dig into these players and management. At the end of the day, how do you think they're going to respond? By encouragement or by just completing a slating? Slate them and tear their confidence to pieces, or give them that little bit of encouragement and then maybe give them that little bit of boost. Right, okay, this is a fan base that's getting behind me now. They're actually going to give me the chance to go out there and change things. If I'm playing poorly, they're going to give me the opportunity to go out there and change my fortunes and change my performances for this football club. You come on top of them, and start ripping them to pieces for it. How would you respond? Would you want to come good for these people? I know I wouldn't. I'm a Newport County supporter, so if I was playing for Newport County, it wouldn't matter what the people thought of me. I love the football club. But then players who come here, who are getting paid a wage to play for the football club, at the end of the day, at this level, you've got to want to do well for the club. Obviously, you want to do well for yourself, you've got a football career, but you've got to want to do well for the club. And you want as many players in that dressing room to want to do well, not just for the club, but for each other. And that's the kind of dressing room atmosphere we've got. It's what we've had since the Great Escape, is a great dressing room atmosphere where the players play for each other as well as the club. Because the vast majority of our fans get behind these players, whether they're going through a good phase or a bad phase. Going through a bad phase, give them that bit of encouragement, because they're not professional footballers because they can't play the game. These people are being paid a wage to play in League Two because they're capable of performing in League Two. So a lot of football is up there. A lot of it. Now, there's people who I know who are more than capable of playing at a higher level, but just didn't have it up there to succeed. Now, people have made it. They got it up there, but they need to find it up there sometimes. And that little bit of encouragement and support can help them find it. So, Instead of attacking these players, instead of slating them, instead of running them down, instead of slating the management and running them down, get behind them and encourage them. And look, if they're not putting in the effort, and if they just don't seem to be showing the desire, that's a completely different story altogether. But there's nothing at all to tell me that there's anything like that going on at the club right now. Every single one of them players are trying their best. I saw it at Sutton. I saw it in the Walsall game. We were much the better team against Sutton. We were absolutely the better team against Walsall. The only time where you can really think, right, these players didn't do what they can, was the Salford game in the first half. Even though we conceded the goals in the second half, we were better in the second half. Even though overall it was a poor performance, you know, you can't really put these players down. The Bradford game, they tried. With 10 men, they bloody tried. You know, and there were times where they could have got back into it. But ultimately, 10 men against Bradford at Bradford was always going to be a tough one. But now, they got past that. They got that monkey off their backs. We got the monkey of the home losses in a row off our backs. You know, we can put all that behind us now. Like people referencing last season, it's behind us. It's this season now. Sod last season. Roby's brought his own players in now. You know, it's all about his team. He took Flinney's team as far as he could. He's got his own team now. You can't write them off before they've even barely kicked the ball. You know what I mean? But there's even people, I'm worried. Just making general statements like, I'm worried. What are you worried about exactly? You know, do you actually think we're going to get relegated? Do you think we're not going to be anywhere near the promotion? Do you think that as a football club we're just going to slide backwards or whatever? Just specify, what are you worried about? Don't get worried. You know, if you actually take in the performances. Now, I've made the point that when I used to drink, you know, I've been sober now for pretty much dead on 8 years. And since I became sober, I was able to take the games in. Now, I'm not saying I got drunk before the games, but just having a few beers before the game never allowed me to fully take the game in that well and fully analyse what the players are doing and understand what they're doing. Now I'm sober, I can understand what the team are trying to accomplish tactically. I can understand what the players individually are trying to accomplish. I can see the performances on and off the ball that the players are putting in. This is why it baffles me sometimes when people who I know, who enjoy a good drink, go to the game and say, oh, so-and-so was shit today. Like, what? He had a great game. You know, people saying, oh, he's one of the worst players I've ever seen in a County shirt. And for me, he's been one of the best. No, I'm not, you know, going to name anybody because these are just examples of things that I've encountered in the past because I can't remember exactly who they would have been talking about. I've had these conversations in the past. So my feeling now, and yeah, I know I've been poked at a little bit for my snide comments on County Chat. And look, at the end of the day, you know, we got people, you know, running these players down, pissing me off because I'm sick of reading the shit. It's just a way of poking back at them. You know, they're trying to poke at people like me by putting the crap that they put on. So the snide comments, I'm poking back at them, and I make no apologies for it, basically. Fuck them. But we're all supporters of Newport County, and if we all want the same thing, we should all get behind them. It's not stab at them. This is not try and say that the manager should get sacked just because we lost 2-0 against Bradford with 10 men when we never should have had a player sent off. We haven't had our luck with referees this season either, have we, really? You know, so, you know, it swings and roundabouts, they say. Well, let's see the roundabout swing around now. Let's see if we can get a win today against Grimsby and then go on a nice little run. You know, we had a great win in the Papa John's Trophy. I'm glad that we're taking that seriously this year because there's money to be made from it. There's a cup run to be had. You know, if we're rotating the squad, there's opportunities for players who have fallen out of favour to get into the team again and force their way back in. Because at the end of the day, if the competition is fiery for places, they are going to get better out of the players. It's as simple as that. So I think there's an awful lot to be excited about. There's an awful lot to be happy about as Newport County fans. I think we've made some phenomenal signings. I mean, I love Flinney. But obviously, Flinney, he often got things wrong with certain signings. So I think Robury, if you look at the 11 that he's brought in, I don't think there's a bad signing there between any of them. You know what I mean? Whereas, you know, with Flinney, you always guaranteed there was going to be somebody who would underperform or just wasn't cut out for this level, or we hadn't done due diligence on their injury history. I know Zanzala's injured, but as far as I'm aware, he doesn't have any injury history. Sometimes players are unlucky. So there's a lot of things you've got to factor in. 11 good signings, and some of them obviously much better than others. I think we've tapped into the loan market phenomenally this year as well, like we did last year. So let's hope that it all comes good. Hayden Lindley, let's hope he's the new Azaz. I mean, there's a lot of promise about him. He's the captain of the Villa under-23s as well. So, yeah, I think we could have some good players there. So let's see what the season brings. Enjoy the ride, guys. You know, because at the end of the day, football there has its ups and its downs. A lot of the new supporters, great to have you, by the way. But remember that we're Newport County. We're not Man City. We're not expected to win every game. And don't throw your toys out the pram if we don't. Take the losses, you know, and take the bad days with the good ones, because I tell you something now, the good days far outweigh the bad days when the days are good. Trust me. So just get used to being a bit more humble about things. Anyway, I've nattered on for over 15 minutes now, so I'm going to give you guys a break. But hopefully you guys agree with me. I'd love to see more comments on these videos. You know, I want to get the feedback, because the thing that prevents the repetition of me doing these videos on my own is, to be honest with you, the lack of response. Because when I get response, I then get ideas for the next video, and I got to wait for an idea for a video then. You know, because I don't just want to do a video and just natter on about Newport County. I want there to be a subject matter like there was with this one. So yeah, get the comments in, guys. I want to engage that a little bit more, and I will do more of these videos then. All right, cheerio for now all, and as always, up the county.